Welcome to another episode of Help from a Sister. I'm your host, Veronica White. Hope you're doing well today. The topic is life happens. Life happens no matter what's going on or what you have planned for your life. There's unexpected things that happen and come up it's a distraction. And with distractions, you have to know that you have goals and things you have to accomplish. Yes, you have to make a detour and do what's necessary in the moment. I don't want you to lose focus on that, but also know you have goals, things to accomplish, stories that need to be wrote, information that needs to be passed down and shared with other people. So today I'm going to share some information about some life challenges that I'm currently having. Um, I attended the South African mission that I had planned. It was an amazing experience. I'm looking forward to going back next year and taking my cousin Yvette with me. That's going to be so powerful. Like, it's so inspirational. We had so much fun in addition to giving back and sharing information. Literacy. So I went on a literacy mission in South Africa. That was just a little side note. Okay, let me get back to the topic. For the last couple of weeks, it has been a challenge for me because my mom just had a stroke. And my mom is a very independent woman that's very strong, like to do things herself, her way. So she let the hospital know she was ready to leave prior to everything being in place. Anyone that's dealing with a family member or have knowledge on the area I'm discussing, please share some tools and techniques that you used. I'm going to share some here with you because my mom left the hospital and she didn't have everything in place. The social worker said once she left the hospital, side note for anyone, do not let the patient leave the hospital until everything is executed and you have a plan of action. Unfortunately, that didn't happen with my mom, but God sends the ones he needs to send. So they sent me to read all her paperwork and to find out what was needed. So when I got back in town and I read everything and saw what my mom needed, I started following up just to get confirmation that this stuff was done, only to find out that it had not been done. The referrals that went out from the social worker at the hospital were not accepted. So I called her primary physician and informed them, hey, well, my mom don't have the equipment she needs to be at home. She does not have the services she needed. At that time, that's all I knew. So they said, okay, well, you have to call her insurance company to see who would accept her based on her insurance company. Well, I called her insurance company. My mom has Blue Cross Blue Shield, PPO. They sent me a list and said, hey, these are the providers for home health care that will help your mom, or these are the companies for equipment. So now I'm calling company after company to see if they will accept her insurance. Now, the social worker at the hospital was able to fax over the referrals. In the doctor's office, the nurse was able to fax over the referrals. However, I did all the calling. And it was overwhelming. But in the moment, no matter how overwhelmed I was, my task at hand was to get my mom the equipment, to get her the OT, the ST, and the PT. So if anyone who don't know those, that is speech therapy, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. She needed an RN as well. So I needed to find a healthcare company, a home healthcare company that can provide those services and accept my mother insurance, because some of the companies were saying, well, her insurance only covers 65%. You would have to cover the rest. That's a little challenging. So I kept calling until I found a company that accepted her insurance and provided her the services that she needed. It took me about a week and a half. In the moment, God gives you the strength to endure and get everything done, because I still went to work every day. And I made calls when I was at work. I made calls when I was at home. But I got the job done. And once I got it done, I began to now embrace, like, wow, that was a lot. Like, this is overwhelming. I can only imagine what's happening to other people that have family members that you're caring for, and you don't understand the healthcare system. The doctors are very vague, and no one is willing to give you the information. I heard a lot of no's. I was on the phone with Blue Cross Blue Shield. I wish I could remember the young lady name, but I broke down and was like, I just need help. Like, my mother just got out the hospital. She needs these services. I don't know what I'm doing, but I just need help. Who can I talk to help me call? Because everywhere I'm calling, on the list that was provided by Blue Cross Blue Shield, they're telling me they don't accept my mother insurance or her coverage. She's retired. How do I get the help I need? And one lady was like, you know what, Veronica, I understand. Let me help you. And we was on the phone 4 hours. And she was the one, well, she helped me on the back end when I needed a cardio doctor and a nurse. But the first week and a half, it was just getting her the equipment she needed, which was the bed, the wheelchair, the lift, and one other piece of equipment. That was the second one was the home healthcare agency that can send people to the home to help her get the services she needed. Once I reached those two hurdles, the next thing was, okay, she had 2 follow-up appointments. One was with her neurologist, and then the second one was with the cardio doctor. Well, I called the neurologist because they didn't have a date. They said, call his office to follow up. I called his office, gave them my mom's information, and they asked for her insurance. I provided her insurance, and they said, we don't accept Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO. I said, okay, so what do I do now? She's like, you need to call her primary to let her know we're not accepting a referral. But this is the neurologist that saw my mom when she was in the hospital. I was a little baffled, but sorry. I was a little baffled, but I didn't let it get me down. It was, okay, I need to find my mom a neurologist. I did call her primary physician to let her know that the neurologist did not accept it. They didn't have any referrals. They told me to go back to the insurance company, which I did. I called Blue Cross Blue Shield back. Now, her cardio doctor did confirm the appointment, and we had it all set up. So I wound up finding a neurologist with the University of Chicago who accepted my mom's insurance and accepted it and gave me an appointment less than a week, which was amazing because some of the doctors were telling me December. We're in November now. They were saying December, January. Some said March. And my mom just got out of the hospital not too long ago. So me waiting to December is unacceptable to me. Not to most people, but to me it was. And I needed to keep calling until I can find someone that can see her, and let's start this process of someone helping provide the services that she needed in the test to see where we are. If there's any way, possible for her to get back to where she was. So, go back. That was the neurologist. Cardio. Now it comes up, her cardio appointment is one day. 2 days later, we're going to have her neurology appointment. We go to the cardio doctor's appointment. Mind you, my mom is paralyzed on her left side. So it's going to be a challenge to get her out the house, into the car, to the hospital, out the car, into the hospital. It was a challenge. I love and appreciate my brother Marquise, my son DJ, for coming and helping me. Marco, which my mom irritates him all the time, but he was there also to help us get her out the house. So the family is helping out and doing what's needed to help my mom. So now we're at the we're at the cardio appointment. And we have to get there several hours early because of the challenges of getting my mom there. So we get to the appointment at 11. And her appointment wasn't until, the doctor won't get there till about 1. So at 1 is when they come out and tell us that the doctor had surgery. So he will not be coming to see. No one's there. So I said, okay. I called to let my brother and my son know, hey, I think it was my son. My son know, hey, come back because we're headed back to the house. While I'm waiting on him to come back, I go back to that list of doctors that was provided from Blue Cross Blue Shield to start calling other cardio doctors because now my mom needs a doctor. Because the doctor didn't show up, so they postponed her visit until December. Unacceptable at that time. So now I'm calling other doctors to see if I can get someone to see her. I found someone with the advocate group, and I had an appointment for Thursday, which she had already had her neurology appointment Thursday, but it will be early in the morning. So again, let me give you all some information. 2 specialty appointments in one day, even though the first one was a televisit appointment, was still challenging for me. And if it was challenging for me and I'm healthy and I'm getting around, it was even more challenging for my mom because we had to get her up and get her ready for the first doctor's appointment, which was at 9 a.m., 9:30, which was a televisit. We didn't leave the house for that appointment. Then she gets to lay around and relax. By the time we get her settled, it's about 11. And we leave out at 12 for our next appointment, which is at 2 at the University of Chicago. So by the time she really was ready to take a nap, it's time for us to go. We went to the University of Chicago. The doctor was amazing. They went over the things. They discussed some things with us. We came up with a plan of action. She requested some additional testing, some blood work and everything for my mom. But we were at the hospital from probably 12:20 until about 5:20. This is the first time since my mom been home from the hospital that she's been out of the house that long. Driving on Chicago streets where there's potholes and streets cracked up, it was very challenging for her. She was really exhausted. Then I took her back. to the house, got her situated, and I came home, and I was out. I mean, there's nothing else I could have gotten done when I brought her home. So if you're caring for your loved one, notice patience and understanding, because they're in a new situation that's unfamiliar to them. They're scared, and they're trying to figure out what kind of life they have now and what do they have to look forward to. So as much as we get frustrated and overwhelmed, they do too. So I'm not saying discount what you're going through. It's best to have additional people to help out. And if not, if I was caring for my mom and she was with me, then I would say, hey, let me put her in bed. Because I know when she got in bed, there was nothing else my mom needed to do. She was out the rest of the night. And now I have time to listen to music, to relax, to grab something to eat, because she didn't want to eat. She wasn't hungry. And take some time for you to relax and depress, not depress, just unpack everything that took place in that day and all the information you heard and the additional instructions the doctor had for you to do for your loved one. It's very challenging. And I'm experiencing it now because it's my mom. So hats off, hands down to anyone that's caring for someone that's not up to par, who needs a little assistance. Challenging. But I wanted to get on and share that information to see if it helps anyone. I mean, if you all have any tips that you would like to share with me or the rest of the world, please leave a comment, like or subscribe to the channel, Help from a Sister. Because again, I want to provide resources for people, tools and techniques that I'm using in my day-to-day life to cope. And if you need some help or some assistance, I want to share that information with you. If you have information that you want to share with me, please do so. I welcome all information. I think we can learn and grow from each other. I'm starting this to start a community, so it doesn't feel like you're alone going through it, because a lot of people has already been down this road that I'm going down. And I reached out to some people to ask some questions to get some insight on some things I wasn't for sure with, because finances is my area. Healthcare is not. But because I have a mom who has a health challenge at this time, I'm getting a crash course. And I'm learning the do's and don'ts, right? So that's why I want to stress to anyone who has a loved one that's in the hospital, that's about to be released, make sure you're with the social worker and they have everything set up before that person leaves the hospital. Excuse me. Make sure if they're going to a nursing home or a rehabilitation center, if they need home health care services, occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, if they need an RN, make sure everything is in place, that they accept the person's insurance before you leave the hospital. Because once you leave the hospital, the social worker will no longer help you. The doctor's office can give you the referrals, but I was informed by the nurse at my mother's doctor that she does not call anyone to set up the doctor's appointments or to get the referrals. So that puts it on you. And that was a full-time job. Like it took 6 to 8 hours for each one, 3 to 4 for me to get the results. That means I'm calling this one. No, we don't accept insurance. Okay, I'm calling the next one. I get a voicemail. I'm calling the next one. No, we don't accept it. This is the list that Blue Cross Blue Shield provided to me for my mom's PPO. So I just want you to know, I know the person in the hospital is not gonna like it. They ready to go home. They ready to go home now. They tired of being poked and prodded on all day. But for you, it's already going to be a challenge to help them recover and to do the things they need to do. Please do not add finding the services and equipment they need to that list. If you are come up with a plan of action, if the doctor come up with a plan of action, have the social worker execute it, give you confirmation, please call to follow up to make sure that's confirmation. And now you're ready to say, okay, now let's get this person where they needs to be. Because that's going to be a challenge in itself. And that's where you're going to have to put the most of your attention. Luckily, I have my cousin Aisha, who provides the day-to-day care for my mom. I'm the one who calls to get what she needs, to get her doctor's appointment, and to make sure she gets to those doctor's appointments. My mom is a very loving and unique person, and she loves to do things herself. She don't like people making decisions on her behalf. So I, every step of the way, let her know what's going on. And hey, mom, this is our plan. This is what we got to get done today. This is what I'm working on for you. So thank you for letting me share the information about a challenge that I'm having in my life currently. But I know that what happens to us in life is how we respond. So I was able to put my thoughts, feelings, and emotions to the side and get the job done to get my mom the services she needed to help her speed up the process or do my part as her child. So again, my hands go down. My heart is open to anyone who is taking care of a loved one. It's very challenging. It's very challenging. So if you want to share any information with me, thank you. I think that's all I have for today. Thank you for tuning in and let me share some information about what's going on in my life. Hopefully it helps someone. Please pass the information along. Subscribe to my channel. Oh, I also have from Help from a Sister networking event. Once the third Friday of every month, we get together to talk about all things business. So we're meeting every Friday in person or on Zoom. You can subscribe and sign on so I can send you the information. And let's talk about business. Like, I want a community of people helping people, lifting them up, providing the information, because the information is free. These are some lessons that I had to experience this week that I wanted to share, because now if another person is going through that, let me give you some tips of what I learned. And some information some people were sharing me was the doctor's nurse should be calling. However, they didn't. And I just took that job and did it. But now that I know my mom or the person shouldn't leave the hospital until everything is set up, I wanted to get that information out to let people know. Don't let your loved one leave the hospital without everything in place. So thank you all again for letting me share. This is another episode of Help from a Sister. I'm your host, Veronica White. Talk to you soon.